At Dave Cooper Live, we connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. Welcome everybody to Dave Cooper Live Special Edition, where we're bringing you the people, the products, and the processes helping us all to build it better. So, if you are wondering how automation, robotics, and technology will impact the construction industry, making it safer, improving productivity, and solving for the skilled labor shortage, look no further. Today, we welcome Andy Stulc, mechanical engineer, founder and CEO of Renovate Robotics, a venture-backed startup working on construction automation products, starting with roofing. But first, before we get into this conversation, we need to have a word from all of our sponsors and supporting members. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Forward Solutions Group is successfully driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Are you looking to start a factory, optimize your existing factory, streamline your production, or take your team to the next level? Whatever your needs are, Forward has a solution for you. Reach out to Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com. Halleck Ltd. has a long history of innovation in cold form steel manufacturing and producing innovative precision roll forming technology for customers throughout the United States and the world. Check out their machine buyer's guide for off-site modular construction or fast build construction with light steel for framing. Go to their website, halleckltd.com. Brought to you by Greatech, one of the largest Autodesk partners globally and software developer of the PowerPack Advanced Design, Advanced Steel, and the StruxSoft product line. The complete solution to automate wood and light gauge steel framing, design, and documentation all the way out to CNC output, model, design, and manufacture with StruxSoft. Learn more at StruxSoftSolutions.com. All right, again, thank you to all of our supporting members out there and sponsors. We cannot continue to bring all of this automation, education, and awesome people doing awesome things onto the show. So let's get into it. Let's bring Andy onto the show. Andy, welcome to the Dave Cooper Live Show. How are you?
Thanks, Dave. I'm great. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to hop right into this robot that does roofing and shingles. But first, we want to know everything about you, Andy. From the moment you were born to this very moment in time, do not leave out any of the good stuff from the hospital, or we may have your mother on the fall. And if she comes on, I'm sure it'll get quite embarrassing. Anywho, you only got about a minute and a half to do it. The floor is yours.
Yeah. So I was born in Spokane, Washington. Grew up in a family that was a big construction family. My dad ran a general contractor. I've got cousins and uncles that are electricians and concrete workers. So we're just kind of a big do it with your hands family. I went on to go to college at University of Notre Dame, where I majored in mechanical engineering, and I got into robotics and automation after that. So I started my career at an aerospace supplier where we built big giant machine tools that build Boeing 787 fuselage. We did the machines that build the wings for the Boeing 777X. So a lot of really fun stuff. But eventually, worked my way back towards the construction industry and merging those robotic, concepts onto the construction site.
All right. So listen, man, like you got a stellar background, right? You're working in automation and other industries, engineering background. You got all these things happening. How did you get into robotics for roofing? I didn't hear that you were a roofer.
So what happened is I actually moved back to my hometown of Spokane in 2019, and I bought a house that needed the roof replaced. And it was kind of frustrating because the insurance company was gouging me until I was able to get it replaced, but also all the contractors in the area were booked out for 3 months. And so I was frustrated. And when the contractor finally did show up, I'm watching this like army of people do this really dangerous, repetitive work. Yeah. And the robotic side of my brain just starts thinking, we could build a machine that does this safer, faster, cheaper. And during COVID, I got to work on it.
You know what? Another blessing, I guess, if there's blessings in COVID, that would be one of them, right? There's new ideas and people had time to stop and actually think and be like, what am I doing with my life here? What can I do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So this has been in the works for several years. When did you actually form Renovate Robotics?
Yeah, so we formed in the summer of 2021. I actually sold that house. I did a bunch of remodel work during COVID. I sold that house to get the business off the ground. And so I've been full-time on this for about 3 years now.
Yeah. And a big congratulations, because at the International Builders Show this year, you guys won the best of show.
Yeah.
For new tech and new companies, right?
Yeah, we were in the startup pitch competition. That's and we were the People's Choice Award. Yeah.
I know it. I wanted to hear you say it. I got to be the moderator for that event, and what an event it was. All right. So Andy, let's get into it here. Why don't you talk us through what exactly Renovate Robotics does, how it works? I want everybody to leave here knowing that, this is a tool for anybody that's in the roofing business, whether you're on a job site or even in a factory. This is a useful tool for you. So go ahead, hop into it.
Great. So I'll share some slides and we can talk through, basically what we're doing is we're using robots to solve roofing's biggest problems. Anyone that's been around the industry knows that residential roofing is a huge industry, $60 billion a year, but it faces some pretty major problems. And we bucket those into two categories. The first is climate and severe weather. As climate change causes more frequent and more severe weather, that's more damage to roofs and more demand for roofing services. And then on top of that, roofing is a really hard job, really dangerous job, and it's hard to get people to enter that industry and stay there for a long time. And so it's kind of just the perfect storm of demand going up and constrained labor supply. And so, what we're doing is we're building a robot that helps contractors, change the nature of that job, let their crews work faster, and just get more done with less people. The way our robot works, we call it RUFUS, is you mount anchor points around the roof plane, and then we use a ladder lift to raise the robot up onto the roof. It connects via cables on winches to those anchor points, and then those are all synchronized together to pull the robot around the roof, and it automatically places shingles and nails them down to the surface. We'll pull up this video that shows our V0 prototype working. This is just in our workshop in Brooklyn, New York. We actually have a whole new generation of the system that we haven't shown publicly yet, but it'll be coming out at some point this summer, some more videos that work even faster. We use machine vision that looks down at the roof to segment those shingles out and guarantee that all the shingles are placed accurately. And then we record all that data so we can share it with insurance companies, warranty providers, so that they know, as the climate gets worse, that roof is going to protect that house. So I'll click back to the other slides here. So on, the big benefits here, we just talked about them, but what we do with the robot is with one person operating the machine, you can place shingles at a rate of 6 people, working manually. And in addition, it minimizes that time that humans spend on those sloped surfaces. So it makes the process a lot safer. And then like we talked about with that machine vision system, you guarantee that the roof is installed correctly.
No kidding. So you're saying that this does the work of 6 people, like at the same time?
It does. Yeah. The caveat there is it's 6 people installing shingles, but there's a lot of other processes that have to go on the job site. So there's tear off, there's underlayment, flashing, drip edge. And so our goal is that you can get the project done in the same amount of time with half of the crew. And the way we do that is by drastically speeding up that shingle install part.
No kidding.
Yeah, we've been met with a ton of enthusiasm from the industry. We released the first video of the robot earlier this year, and we've really seen a lot of outreach since then. Every couple months we go viral as more people share the video. So we have a ton of people reaching out to us. The contractors that we're aimed at working with are bigger, kind of more sophisticated contractors. These are people that run multiple crews. They manage big backlogs of projects in really professional ways. And they're people who are excited about adopting new technologies. Right now, we have 10 of these roofing contractors signed up for pilot projects with us. And then, the way we're thinking about going to market is in 2024, starting in just a few weeks, we're going to do our first roof install. We're taking on partial projects. So we're doing initially just one plane of a project at a time. And what we want to show this year is increasing scope and productivity metrics throughout the year. And that'll set us up to be a full subcontractor and scale up our operations next year. We're still working on long-term business models. And so we could scale up those subcontracting or contracting operations, or we might actually just get to a point where we lease machines directly to contractors and let them run them themselves. As I mentioned, this year we're looking to do a project every 6 to 8 weeks, and we're looking for really tightly integrated design partners, roofing contractors to run those projects with. And then, next year our goal is to open up these hubs regionally where we'll have 5 crews doing, close to 400,000 square feet a month across, multiple robots, multiple crews. So we're aiming to scale up pretty fast, but we have a lot to show in the meantime. Yeah.
So when we think about all of this, Andy, I mean, this is something that you could be at every tool rental place across the country for anybody to use whenever they want to use it. I mean, I get it. You don't want homeowners and DIYers climbing up on the roofs, but they also rent them excavators. If they want to go rent an excavator, there's no licensing behind it. But the reality of it is, this gives everybody the opportunity to do more with less. And what I mean by that is there's less skilled labor out there.
Yeah, exactly. And, the thing that we're balancing there is that we need to fine tune that user experience and the reliability of the system so you can put it in anyone's hands and they can be productive with it. So,
well, and that's exactly what it is. It's about productivity. It's about safety. It's about sustainability. It's about lowering risk and insurance costs, all the things that you mentioned this robot does. So let's get into the details of this. How many shingles can you load it with? How many squares can it do out of one load?
Yeah. So on our V1 system, the one that we haven't shown yet, we hold 30 shingles at a time. We're looking to increase that to 40 shingles. So that's 2 bundles.
Yeah.
So you do 50 square feet between reloads. Excuse me. And then, really what we're optimizing is how fast you can put those shingles down and then how fast you can reload the machine. And so we've actually worked out automation where you can stage the materials on the ground and then raise them up that ladder lift. And there's an automated swap over from one shingle hopper, like an empty shingle hopper, to a full shingle hopper in less than a minute. So it keeps that robot working fast.
It definitely does. So with that, I'm just going to play this video while we talk a little bit so people can kind of get a behind the scenes look at it. But as we're talking about these things, Andy, like when you say reload, there's a system that'll carry the shingles up the ladder so somebody doesn't have, because OSHA says you got to have 4 points of contact on the ladder, right?
Yeah.
And we all know in construction that leaves no way to carry something up. So tell me how you're solving that.
Yeah, so we're using ladder lifts. They're standard tool that most roofing contractors already use. Yeah. And the robot actually interfaces with that lift at the top of the roof. So you send up a full hopper of shingles, and the robot actually just comes over, quick couples to that hopper, drops off the empty one, picks up the full one, and it's right back to work. We do all the staging on the ground. So you have an operator on the ground, monitoring the robot operations and getting that next hopper of shingles ready. And then it also swaps out the nail gun on that hopper as well. So we've built in a lot of modular tool changers where we can hot swap all those materials to keep things loaded.
Calibration, right? We all know that the nail gun is a very important piece of this, that you do not crack that shingle as the nail pushes through, right?
Exactly.
So how does all this stay calibrated for somebody that is using this machine, or is there a recalibration process?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of just calibration on the setup to get the nail gun pressure and depth adjuster right. We use that machine vision system to validate that those nails are driven to the right system. So we have additional cameras, that are looking at nail locations as well. And and then we're tied in closely with the shingle manufacturers. We're formalizing some partnerships across those players, and so we're working directly with them and getting that feedback directly from the people that write those installation specs. And what we want is for them to validate the robot, and then that builds trust with our customers, the roofing contractors.
Well, and not only that, like I could see this in the future with the insurance companies saying, hey, you're getting a discount because this has all been verified and installed correctly. So our warranty isn't at as much great risk as if some human did it. Right. Not to belittle the human side, but humans aren't sitting there tracking every nail and taking pictures of every shingle that's installed. They actually have true verification and can feel safe that, all right, this was done per code and standard.
Yep. And we're super excited about that. And the insurance companies are as well. The other side of that as well is, in places like Florida, there's actually a requirement where once you've dried in the roof, an inspector has to come out and take a look at it before you can start putting shingles on. And so, one thing that we see down in the future is you can pass along this digital data, and that inspector can sign off on it remotely. Right. And you don't have your crew waiting around for that inspection to happen as well. So that data is valuable both during the process and downstream.
Yeah. Well, I mean, absolutely. And I think virtual inspections are something that's coming anyhow, right?
For sure.
Because you're right. You could just give the video install and the picture install to the inspector and say, well, here's everything that keeps you safe too. Because now you have digital proof that the job was done right, and you can feel that you're protecting the homeowners, because that's really what their job is, to protect the homeowners and the safety of the job and everything else.
Yeah. Yep. And it makes that inspection job safer as well. Yep.
Sure. So one of these robots, I'm watching this, Andy. I'm the 5th largest roofing installer in the country. How am I working with you?
Yeah. So initially, what we want to do is basically be a subcontractor crew for you. So when you hire out your labor, we want to be that crew that's on the ground installing. We can actually offer better rates as our productivity comes up. And then, we want to scale with you. And so if you're a contractor that wants to double your revenue, we see us as that ability to, multiply your output without needing a lot more overhead and management. So, yeah.
So with that said, I'm going to put this back on the screen. I just love this damn thing. I think it's the coolest thing since sliced bread. So with this, how many people does it take to operate this?
Yeah, so you need 3 people while you're setting it up. And then once you're set up on the roof plane, it's just 1 person to operate it. It's basically fully automated, and that person is there just to keep materials fed to the machine.
So this thing comes up the ladder. Is it a special ladder, or is it any ladder?
It's it's our modified version of a standard ladder lift. So there's some special sauce there.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? It has to have something that rounds off the top for it to get onto the roof, I would imagine.
Exactly. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
And then to get it to the other side of the roof, what does one have to do?
Yeah, so in between planes, we move it around, and that's where you need 3 people. So one person, running the controls, and 2 people, helping safely move it around the job site.
Right.
We're actually working on new versions of hardware that will help us do that. Make the machine lighter, easier to manipulate, and so we're trying to make that user experience better every time. For now, we're focused on bigger, simpler projects. So things like multifamily buildings,
Okay.
shopping malls, churches, university buildings, things that have big roofs, projects that take, a week, sometimes even longer. Those are the projects where we really add the most value right away. And then as things get better, we'll go to more single family houses as well.
Well, I mean, obviously, as you ramp up, right? And the bigger projects allow you to do more testing and work out any of the kinks that may or may not exist and all of that.
Yep.
So what's the time frame for this getting into the hands of others? I know you have some testing coming up in another month or so. So after that's complete, what's next?
Yeah, so we'll scale pretty slowly this year. The goal is to work with those targeted group of roofing contractors and just do a handful of projects over the course of this year.
Yeah.
And then we want to start more continuous operations next year. Realistically, it's going to be 2026 timeframe until we're ready to start handing this over for external users. But we want a lot of people to have that ability to see it in person before then. And so if you want to work with us, or if you know anyone that wants to work with us, have them reach out. Yeah.
Let's talk about this in a factory environment, right?
Yeah.
We spend a lot of our time traveling the world, seeing multifamily, commercial, and residential buildings being built, modularized, panelized in a manufacturing environment. This seems like a no-brainer to have one of these machines just dangling in the air. When the next module comes over, they can put it down, do their connection points, and feed it. What is your thoughts on that? And do you want to be in a factory testing as well?
Yeah, we're really excited about that. The challenges with the factory is that those lines are moving, 8 houses a day, 10 houses a day. And it's hard to interrupt that line to prove out the project. And so the feedback we've gotten so far is that we need to be a little bit further along in our development, but then there's a lot of interest once we're at that reliability stage. I think, it's the exact same thing. They talk about the worst jobs in those factories, and it's roofers and it's drywall hangers. And it's because they're just non-ergonomic jobs. And so the roofers are up there, bent over, 90 degrees on their knees, on their back all day. And so it's a perfect job to add some automation to.
How do people get involved, Andy? Are you looking for any assistance? Are you looking for investors? Or are you guys just in the proving ground stage and buckle in because we're coming?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we're very interested in working with contractors that want to do pilot projects together. Yeah. We are also raising some additional investment this year. And so if there are people in the industry or in the investment side of things that want to be part of this, we definitely want to talk to you. And then we're going to continue hiring. We actually want to hire some roofers and robot operators directly. So we're looking for both people with engineering degrees and people with that blue collar background. It's important for us to have a balanced team that way. And so, basically anyone that thinks this is exciting, we encourage you to reach out.
It's definitely exciting, man. Come on. Nobody's thought about robots for roofing yet that I know of in the world. Andy, what have we not covered in our conversation today that is of utmost important that people understand and know about you?
Yeah, so I think that, the other aspect is shingles are just the beginning. And so, we want to expand to other roofing materials, other roofing processes, and eventually other construction processes as well. But initially, we're especially excited about solar, being part of that layout, rack and panel installation, or installing things like solar shingles. So we want to talk to people that are excited about that as well. And then we'll eventually move to commercial roofing and potentially onto like building facades or like vertical applications as well. And so there's a big potential for automation, and we see ourselves as being one of the industry leaders.
What is the cost of one of these things if I were to want to buy one? Can you tell me, or you're not going to, I know you're not going to share it, but I'm going to ask Andy.
Yeah, I think, the big thing we're doing is just making sure the economics work out. at prototyping quantities, the costs never look good because you're building things one off. But we have a clear path to get things in a way where you can pay this machine off in 3 or 4 months. Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's about, right? It's all about the volume, the job, the cost savings, the insurance savings. It's not just an apples for apples comparison. It's the safety, not having somebody fall off a ladder. But you know what the saving, you know what they say is, Andy, they always say, hey, if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Yeah. Yeah.
and I can tell you now, just from starting this show from scratch and other businesses in my past, if people knew how much time, effort, and money truly goes into just developing something such as what you've developed, and it looks simple, but it is so complex. They'd lose their mind if they realize how much time, effort, and money it takes to actually do these things.
Yeah. I mean, I think you said it. I think I just look at everything in the world, and there's a lot of passion that goes into making anything work, whether it's a YouTube show or a robot. And so I'm just happy people are out there putting that work in. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, listen, Greg Ugaldi said hello. Greg Ugaldi is the past chair of the National Association of Home Builders. The big dog, awesome. Updates president and secretary of housing still to this day. And he tunes into the Dave Cooper live show. So that's always a good thing. What do you think, Greg? I bet your crews, because Greg's a builder, a developer, you should have a robot on your roof, Greg. Save yourself some insurance, save yourself time, get the best skilled labor out there, and that's a robot. We'll see if he answers. Andy, anything that we missed, though? Honestly, I really want to make sure that we give it all out there. And I'm super excited about this. And how do we follow along with everything that you're doing?
Yeah, so we're most active on LinkedIn. You can find us Renovate Robotics on LinkedIn, and then we'll be sharing some more videos and YouTube videos through LinkedIn as well. So that's the best place to follow us. Excellent.
Andy, thank you so much for joining us today on our show. Don't go anywhere. The rest of you out there, Renovate Robotics, man. If you're out there building and trying to do it better, you better be following what Andy and his team are doing, because they are going to take roofing to the next level, and not just with shingles. I heard the future of solar and everything else. So, Andy, thank you so much for being on the show today. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back to you after the outro. But for the rest of you, hey, guess what? It's Friday. I know, not Wednesday. Friday, special edition Dave Cooper Live. It's that important. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.